Yo, what is good? I appreciate everybody from tuning in. Hey, that was a throwback. I haven't used that logo video in a minute. But anyway, in this video, we're going to talk about an update in the Carmelo Anthony case, the trial that's probably going to be coming forward soon because if he's saying self-defense, I don't see why he would probably take a plea because it's going to end bad if he does take a plea. We're going to talk about an update to a case where he actually has made bond. As always, I'm Marcus. I'm a licensed attorney. I've been doing this for over 15 years. Defense, prosecutions, investigations, white collar crimes, blue collar crimes, plaid collar crimes, fuchsia collar crimes. I've interacted and worked on all sides of the bench with different type of offenses. So we're going to dive in and talk about it. As always, not legal advice, just giving my opinion and takes on topics. Let's talk about bond, okay? Because there was a comment that I got. I was going to post a comment up, but he actually replied, and I was like, it's not even worth it. But there was a comment that was left on the video I did talking about Carmelo Anthony's defense or the strength of it. And not this person in particular, but clearly a lot of people watch 2 minutes of the video and then leave a comment and don't watch anything else. It's kind of ridiculous. So there's a clear distinction between people who are co-counsel to the channel and people who are observers. You guys stay in the jury box and let the co-counsels do what the co-counsels do because we objective over here. But in that video, I talked about the weakness of his argument, the strengths of his argument, and what facts his defense will have to bring up during trial to be able to justify the use of force that was used in that case. I'm not going to recap it. Let's address the issue of his bond. A lot of people are upset that Carmelo Anthony has received the bond. I talked about this before. The sole purpose of bond, this is established by the Supreme Court, is to secure a defendant's presence at trial. What that means is typically the offense that was alleged to have been committed by the defendant is irrelevant. It could be an attempted murder, a murder, armed robbery. The offense technically should be irrelevant to the bond. The purpose of bond is just to secure the defendant's presence. So what the court would do is look to see if one, the defendant has prior contact with the court where he has missed a court date. Does he have previous failure to appear? Does he have any means and opportunity to actually flee? Remember, when Diddy was going through his bond, one of the reasons he was never given a bond is the biggest was the alleged accusations of witness tampering, which looked to be founded, in my opinion. But the other factor was that this dude has the means to roll out, never be seen again because he is or was a billionaire. So if a person does not have any failure to appear, they have substantial ties to the community. That means their family is in the community, their school, their church, their job, all of these things that kind of locks them into the community. It's more likely that the judge is going to establish bond. Or establish a bond and set a bond that is probably going to be more reasonable. Now, one of the things you have to remember, even though generally bonds are to secure the defendant's presence, some courts, some judges do take into consideration the nature of the offense, and it's just kind of normal. I mean, had cases in front of judges as a defense attorney where if your client was alleged to have committed an armed robbery, they were not going to be going anywhere. Why? Because this judge had a family member who was a victim of an armed robbery. Those types of biases should not come into play, but they do all the time. The other perspective that judges have is, hey, wait a minute. This person is charged with, let's say, an attempted armed robbery, or let's say an attempted aggravated assault, or let's say threatening, anything like that where there's a physical component. Sometimes you'll see judge increase the bond because judges do not want to be the person on the hook if a defendant gets out on bond and then does something to the victim or the alleged victim. You see this a lot of times in domestic violence cases. You may see a defendant who's in custody, who's charged with some type of assault, the judge is like, hey, the judge will ask questions. Do y'all live together? If y'all don't live together, he may be willing to work out something more reasonable. If y'all live together, do you got someplace to go that's not this person's house? These are the types of inquiries the judge make, because a lot of judges don't want to be on the hook for providing an unsecured or bond that's so low that a defendant can make it. And Lord forbid they give someone a low bond or an unsecured bond, that person gets out and actually deletes the victim in the case. That judge does not want to be on the news. That judge does not want to lose elections. So that's kind of the purpose of bond. Let's go ahead and check out the video real quick just to see what the details were, who said what points were made to be able to convince the judge to reduce Karmelo Anthony's bond. Let's dive in. Let's get it.
Within the past hour, 17-year-old Karmelo Anthony has been released from the Collin County Jail after posting bond. A judge reduced his bond this morning from $1 million to $250,000. He's facing a murder charge after police say he stabbed another teenager, Austin Metcalf, while at a track meet at a Frisco high school. Stephen Dial is in McKinney with more. Stephen.
Karmelo Anthony left the Collin County Jail in a suit, but had nothing to say to the reporters before he got into that vehicle. The district court judge says that she looked at all the factors in this case, him not having a criminal history, and that led to her making her decision to reduce his bond. 17-year-old Karmelo Anthony was silent after bonding out of the Collin County Jail and being placed on house arrest.
How is this self-defense?
2 days after the family of Austin Metcalf buried their son, they were at the Collin County Courthouse for a bond reduction hearing Monday. Karmelo Anthony is accused of stabbing and killing Metcalf at a Frisco track meet earlier this month. The case has quickly become national news, drawing a lot of attention, resulting in threats and increased security at the courthouse.
Okay, I'm just telling y'all the facts as I have them right now, and I'm only looking at the facts. People told me and reached out like, hey, this person on Facebook said they were there and this, that. I went by the facts that we have in the police report. I'm sure more facts are going to come. The police report is not all inclusive of everything that happened. The facts as articulated at the time I went over the story are definitely not in his favor. The key argument that his defense is going to make and have to prove with third-party testimony is that there was an imbalance in personnel. I mean, I said it before in that video. If my brother flapping his guns with somebody and I'm there, I'm going to be right beside him. So the argument that the defense is going to try to make is that, hey, this client of mine was actually seated minding his business. He was approached by a D1 football recruit and his twin brother. They're going to try to show that, hey, it was a 2-on-1 scenario. A 2-on-1 scenario makes the use of a knife a little bit more reasonable in the circumstances, because two people can cause severe bodily harm and or death. That's what's going to happen. That's the arguments as I see them right now, just so y'all don't got to go back and watch that video. But if you want to see it, I'll link it below.
Threats and, talk of race war and all kinds of insanity isn't good for, obviously, the Anthony family. It's not good for the Metcalf family.
Cameras were not allowed inside the courtroom, but we did capture the Anthony family arriving. His father, Andrew, testified in the hearing. District Court Judge Angela Tucker said that she's never gotten this volume of calls and had to have this level of security in the courtroom in her 13 years on the bench. Court documents say Anthony stabbed Metcalf during a fight. When an officer arrived, court documents say Anthony told the officer, "I was protecting myself." Collin County District Attorney Greg Willis spoke after the hearing.
The judge has made the call, and so what's important is what's next, and it's our job to be level-headed, to be fact-based, and to follow the truth wherever it leads.
Anthony's father testified he's taking a leave from work because of the incident, and his wife is a stay-at-home mother with 3 other children. During the hearing, the prosecution brought up the fact that more than $400,000 have been raised for the Anthony family, saying a reduction is not needed because they have the funds. A big question in this case will be, why did Anthony bring a weapon to a high school stadium? It's a question that was asked of his attorney.
I'm going to be honest. I think the answer to that is irrelevant. Why you brought it is irrelevant. What if he brought it because he was on a fishing trip with his father the day before and he left the knife in his bag? It makes no difference. What if he brought it because he, in fact, was being bullied by one of the individuals and he was actually fearful? It makes no difference to the facts and circumstances of why he used it. They'll probably say, it shows that he planned something, but I don't think it's that big of a deal, regardless of the reason. The reason he brought it to me is irrelevant. Unless they can prove that, yeah, I brought it to specifically you use it against this individual.
That's an understandable question, but it's not something that, frankly, we're prepared to even go into.
Now, in the opening statement to the media from that interview that you just heard, he led with talking about self-defense. Again, the court documents mention self-defense. We'll have to wait and see how that defense will be made in court when things pan out. Now, according to the judge, the terms of the bond are house arrest and ankle monitor. She told him to stay off social media, and he has to personally call her bailiff every Friday morning, not his parents, but him. And there's a list of other things that is.
Please, bro, stay off social media. Do not talk to anybody about anything. Don't do interviews. I'm actually going to give him and his family a big kudos. I haven't seen him doing any talking, any gum flapping, which is genius. It's the right move to make. That's the reason why his bond was reduced to something that they can make. And that's also the reason why his bond being reduced is not indicative of the weight of his self-defense argument. It's just two different things. Hey, as always, I appreciate y'all for tuning in. If you enjoyed this, check out the content on the screen. There's going to be more content related to attorney reactions.